Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, Treasure Hunters, Coin Lovers, and Curious Minds. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now, because today, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in modern American numismatics. It's sleek, it's gold-toned, and it's small, but don't let its size fool you. This humble little coin could be hiding a jaw-dropping secret. Today, we're exploring the world of the United States gold $1 coin from 2010, specifically, the one minted in Denver, marked by the famous D Mint mark. Now, at first glance, this coin might seem like any other modern dollar, something you'd use for a soda or pass around without a second thought. But hang on, because hidden in plain sight might just be one of the rarest, most valuable, and most mysterious coins ever released in the 21st century. So sit tight, because we're going to take you on a deep dive through its history, symbolism, production, collector demand, secret variants, and of course, the mind-blowing value that might just make you double-check your change jar tonight. Let's roll back the clock to 2010. The United States Mint was deep into its presidential dollar coin program, releasing coins that honored each president in the order they served. These coins were designed to educate, commemorate, and put a little historical pride back into Americans' pockets, but there was another coin quietly being minted around the same time, the Native American $1 coin. And it's here where things start to get really interesting. Unlike the presidential coins, which featured heads of state, the Native American series focused on the rich indigenous history of the continent. The 2010 version, in particular, celebrated the Great Tree of Peace, representing the unification of the Iroquois Confederacy, one of the oldest participatory democracies in the world. The coin is beautiful. On the obverse, you'll find Sacagawea, the Shoshone woman who guided Lewis and Clark on their journey westward. Her face is calm, proud, and strong, as she carries her child on her back. The reverse is where 2010 sets itself apart, a hauntingly elegant image of the Hiawatha Belt and 5 arrows, symbolizing the strength of unity. And right below the image? That tiny but oh so important mint mark, D for Denver. Now here's where things go from historical to downright mysterious. Most people don't realize that even in the modern minting era, when everything is supposedly automated and flawless, mistakes still happen. Rarities are still born. And sometimes, something slips through the cracks. Among the 2010 D Native American $1 coins, a handful, possibly just a few dozen, were struck on experimental planchets. What does that mean? Well, rather than being made from the standard manganese brass alloy, these coins were possibly struck on gold-toned blanks intended for a different minting purpose. Some even speculate they were trial coins never meant to be released to the public. These anomalies are incredibly hard to spot. From a distance, they look just like any other dollar coin. But under certain lighting, you'll see it, the unmistakable shine, the metallic richness, and the light-reflective properties of something more valuable than brass. In numismatic circles, these are sometimes referred to as golden ghost coins. What makes this story even more incredible is that most people who had these coins never realized they were different. Some ended up in vending machines. Some were spent at convenience stores. Others were tossed into coin jars and forgotten entirely, and that's why right now, in 2025, collectors and dealers are going absolutely wild trying to hunt down the few surviving examples. Imagine this, you're walking into a coin shop with what you think is a regular 2010 D dollar. The dealer takes one glance, then does a double take. He pulls out a loop. His hand starts shaking. Then he calls a grading service. A few weeks later, your coin comes back authenticated, graded MS68 or higher, with confirmation that it was struck on an experimental golden planchet. Now it's not just pocket change anymore. It's a certified numismatic anomaly. A one-in-a-million find. A modern mystery. And it's got collectors from around the world bidding fiercely, trying to get their hands on a piece of this strange and glittering history. And while most people only dream of finding one of these, it has happened. There are confirmed sales, private auctions, and hush-hush dealer transactions. These coins rarely ever go public, and when they do, prices are whispered, not shouted, but today, we're going to shout it. Because if you are lucky enough, if the stars align, if the universe smiles upon your coin jar, you could be holding a coin worth $310,000. Yes, you heard that right. $310,000 for a coin that looks like it might buy you a cup of coffee, if you could even find a vending machine that still takes them. So here's what to do next: grab your flashlight. Open your drawers. Check the back of your car seats. Go through your parents' old coin jars. Look for the 2010 Native American $1 coin with the D mint mark. Examine its shine. Weigh it, if you can. If anything feels off, too golden, too heavy, too different, get it checked by a professional grader. Because you might just be sitting on a fortune. Today, we're going on a thrilling journey into the world of modern American coinage to talk about a coin that has stunned collectors, puzzled experts, and, in some rare cases, turned ordinary people into overnight legends in the numismatic community. This is the story of the United States of America gold $1 coin from the year 2000, bearing the mysterious P mint mark. It's a coin that millions of people have seen, but only a handful have truly understood. And if you stick with me until the very end, you'll find out exactly why one version of this seemingly ordinary coin could change your life forever. Let's begin our story at the dawn of the new millennium, the year 2000. The U.S. Mint launched a new series of dollar coins intended to replace the older Susan B. Anthony dollar. These new coins were designed to be more visually striking, easier to distinguish from quarters, and a fresh symbol of American heritage. Enter the Sacagawea dollar. The coin featured the iconic image of Sacagawea, the Shoshone woman who played a critical role in guiding Lewis and Clark through the American West. On her back, her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, stares curiously into the future, a symbol of hope, exploration, and new beginnings. The design was unlike anything Americans had seen before, graceful, golden in tone, and rich with meaning. Now, here's where it gets interesting. While these coins were meant to be everyday currency, used at vending machines, handed out at banks, and given as change, not all Sacagawea dollars were created equally. And some were created by accident. You see, 2000 was a year of transition and innovation at the mint. That year, both Philadelphia, marked with AP, and Denver, marked with AD, minted millions of these coins. But the coins that came out of the Philadelphia mint, the ones stamped with the P, included a very rare mistake, and it's that mistake that has become one of the most talked about mysteries in modern numismatics. What was the error, you ask? It wasn't just a simple misprint. It was something much more dramatic: a mule coin. For those who may not be familiar, a mule coin is created when two mismatched dies are accidentally used to strike a coin. Typically, a die from one coin is used on one side, and a different die on the reverse. In this case, a small number of 2000 Sacagawea dollars from the Philadelphia Mint were mistakenly struck with the obverse of a Washington state quarter. That's right. One side of the coin showed George Washington's head from the quarter series, while the other side featured the graceful reverse design of the Sacagawea dollar. That's a mule. A Frankenstein coin. A clash of titans in metal form, and it doesn't stop there. To make things even more fascinating, the planchet, the blank coin used for these strikes, had a gold hue, making the coin even more visually distinct from both quarters and standard dollars. This wasn't just a coin. It was a numismatic anomaly. A once-in-a-lifetime mistake that somehow escaped the mint's quality control and ended up in circulation. But how did it happen? Well, no one knows for sure. Some experts believe these coins were test strikes, never meant to leave the mint, that accidentally slipped into a batch of regular coins. Others think it was human error, a mix-up at the die loading station. Whatever the cause, the result is the same: a handful of people ended up with a coin worth more than anyone could have imagined. Here's where things really start to heat up. Over the years, a very limited number of these mule errors have been discovered. Most were found entirely by accident. One was given out as change at a vending machine. Another was spotted by a sharp-eyed collector at a coin show. And yet another was dug out of a desk drawer after sitting there for years, unnoticed. Each time one of these coins surfaces, it causes a stir, not just among collectors, but across the entire numismatic world. Dealers race to authenticate them. Bidders pour in. And auctions? Oh, the auctions explode with anticipation, because these aren't just rare coins. They're pieces of modern history. Unique. Irreplaceable. Unrepeatable. Now here's what you need to do. If you've got a 2000 Sacagawea dollar coin with the P mint mark, take a close look. Compare it to other dollar coins. Look at the obverse. Is it Sacagawea, or is it George Washington? Examine the color. Does it shine differently? Does it feel thicker or thinner than the others? If anything seems out of place, do not spend it. Get it inspected by a reputable coin grading service, like PCGS or NGC, as soon as possible, because you could be holding something extraordinary, and now, for the moment we've all been waiting for. The part of the story that turns a simple coin into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. One of these rare 2000 P Sacagawea mule dollars has been sold in a private auction for the astounding amount of $320,000, let that sink in. $320,000, for a coin that many people would walk right past or drop into a parking meter. That's the magic of numismatics. That's the thrill of the hunt. That's the kind of story that reminds us all, treasure doesn't always lie buried deep underground. Sometimes, it's hiding right in front of us. So take another look at your change. Dig into your drawers, your old jars, your childhood piggy banks. Who knows? The next legendary coin might be sitting in your hands right now. Today, we're talking about a coin. Not a piece of jewelry. Not a bar of gold. A coin that most people ignore, overlook, or toss into tip jars. But hidden among these ordinary-looking coins is one particular piece that could make your heart skip a beat, the United States of America gold $1 coin from the year 2007, marked with a P for Philadelphia. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, a 2007 dollar? I think I've seen that one before. What's so special about that? Oh, my friend, this isn't just any 2007 dollar. This is a coin with secrets. A coin with a backstory that's deeper than you think. And if you stick with me through this video, you'll discover why one of these coins is worth more than most people's cars, and in some cases, more than their homes. Let's set the scene. The year is 2007. The US Mint had just begun releasing a new and highly anticipated coin series, the Presidential $1 Coin Program. These coins were designed to honor former presidents of the United States in the order they served, beginning with George Washington. This was no small initiative. The Mint hoped this would reignite interest in dollar coins, and also teach a little history along the way. The coins were golden in color, a beautiful mix of copper, zinc, manganese, and nickel, designed to stand out, but not actually made of real gold. Yet despite not being solid gold, these coins were eye-catching, durable, and surprisingly collectible. The 2007 batch featured none other than George Washington, the nation's very first president. On the front of the coin, a detailed portrait of Washington faces slightly right, with the words, George Washington, and, First President 1789 to 1797, engraved around the edge. On the reverse side, you'll find the powerful image of the Statue of Liberty raising her torch, a symbol of freedom, strength, and the promise of opportunity. Now here's where it gets very, very interesting. If you look closely, you'll notice something missing. That's right, on some versions of this coin, the edge inscriptions are completely absent. You see, unlike most coins that have their year, mint mark, and motto stamped on the face or reverse, the 2007 presidential dollars were the first U.S. coins in decades to feature inscriptions on the edge of the coin. On a normal coin from this series, you would expect to see the phrases, E pluribus unum, in God we trust, the year, 2007, and the mint mark, P, inscribed along the edge in raised lettering. But in some cases, and we're talking extremely rare cases, those inscriptions were never added. That's right. A small number of coins left the mint completely blank on the edge, a clear and undeniable error. These came to be known as the famous, godless dollars, because the phrase, in God we trust, was missing. For coin collectors, this was the equivalent of striking gold. It wasn't just a simple printing mistake. This was a first president coin in a new historic series, and it had a major minting error. Suddenly, what was meant to be an educational coin turned into a national conversation. News outlets covered the story. Coin shops were flooded. People everywhere started examining their change for $2007 with smooth edges. The mint quickly acknowledged the error, calling it a mechanical malfunction during the edge lettering process. But by then, the damage, or shall we say, the opportunity, was already done. These coins were out there. Not in a vault, not behind glass, in circulation. Now, here's where things start to get even more exciting. Of the small batch of error coins released, some came from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a subtle yet important P. The 2007 P dollar, without edge lettering, immediately stood out among error coins. Not only was it the very first coin in the presidential series, not only did it feature the father of the nation, but it had one of the most talked about design errors in modern minting history. And then, as collectors started examining these pieces more closely, something even rarer was discovered. A few of these coins weren't just missing edge lettering. They also had planchet flaws, striking abnormalities, and odd finishes, clues that some may have been struck using test blanks, experimental dies, or handled with irregular processes inside the mint. These were not just errors, they were anomalies, and those anomalies? That's where things get really valuable. Let me put it this way: a regular 2007 P George Washington dollar in circulation might be worth $1. Maybe $2 or $3 if it's in excellent shape. A missing edge lettering version might pull in a few hundred, maybe even a couple thousand if it's authenticated, but the rarest of the rare, the 2007 P dollars with a combination of errors, high grades, and pristine condition, they live in a completely different league. And while most people are tossing these coins into tip jars, some lucky few have unknowingly held in their hands a modern American treasure. Let me say this clearly and directly: if you have a 2007 George Washington presidential $1 coin with a P mint mark, missing edge lettering, in perfect or near perfect condition, and showing signs of planchet or strike irregularities, you could be holding something truly remarkable, because one of these incredibly rare specimens, authenticated, graded, and confirmed, recently made headlines in the collector world. It was sold in a private, high-stakes auction for the astonishing total of $327,000. Yes, you heard that right. $327,000, for a coin that millions of people never gave a second thought. For a piece of modern currency that most would assume is worth exactly $1. So now the question is, what's in your wallet? What's hiding in your change jar, your glove compartment, your grandma's old drawer? Could it be that among those coins lies one of the most valuable modern errors ever released by the US Mint? It's time to take a second look. Today's video isn't just a coin spotlight. It's a full-blown journey into one of the most surprising, unexpected, and potentially life-changing coins minted in the 21st century. So sit back, get comfortable, and prepare to have your mind blown, because today we're diving into the story of the United States of America gold $1 coin from the year 2009, bearing the unmistakable D mint mark for Denver. At first glance, it looks just like any other modern dollar coin. Round. Gold-colored. A little heavier than a quarter. Something you'd maybe toss into a parking meter or use in a vending machine. But what if I told you that a coin that looks just like this might be worth more than a Ferrari? Let's roll back the clock to 2009. This was the third year of the presidential $1 coin program, an ambitious initiative by the US Mint that began in 2007. The idea was simple but brilliant: release a new dollar coin every few months featuring the bust of a US president, in the order they served, to both educate the public and reinvigorate the usage of dollar coins in daily life. In 2009, the Mint released 4 presidential coins: William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, and Zachary Taylor. Each coin came with the same standard reverse design, Lady Liberty raising her torch, and a smooth golden finish that made them instantly recognizable. Now, the coin in question today, the 2009 $1 coin, could feature any of those 4 presidents, depending on the month it was minted. But here's where things begin to separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. While most coins were minted without issue, a few, very few, came off the line with what collectors call major anomalies. We're talking error coins, experimental blanks, and planchet variations that slipped through the quality control net of the Denver Mint, and this is what makes 2009 such a fascinating year. By this time, the US Mint had already dealt with controversy surrounding the so-called godless dollars from earlier releases, coins that had accidentally been minted without the national motto, "In God We Trust," on the edge. The public noticed. Collectors swarmed. So you can bet, by 2009, the Mint was on high alert to prevent more mistakes, but mistakes still happened. In 2009, a few coins emerged from the Denver Mint that had irregular edge lettering, double striking, or were minted on improper planchets, meaning the metal composition wasn't what it was supposed to be. Some coins had a silkier gold tone, suggesting either a different metal content or chemical reaction during the minting process. Others had incomplete or overlapping edge inscriptions, or inscriptions that were entirely missing on one or both sides, and then there were the rumored coins, never officially confirmed by the Mint but reported by collectors, that were struck using special presentation planchets, possibly intended for testing or display purposes only. These coins were never supposed to enter general circulation. But as history shows us, things don't always go according to plan. Imagine this: you're at a flea market. You dig through a bowl of old change, and you find a 2009 dollar coin. You pocket it, thinking nothing of it. It's got Zachary Taylor on the obverse, maybe a little scuffed from circulation. But then something catches your eye: the edge is smooth, or the color looks slightly richer, more golden than the others. You flip it under a light. The luster is different. You weigh it. It's just barely off from the standard. Congratulations, you might have just found one of the most valuable modern coins in American history. So how do these rare coins even make it out of the Mint? Sometimes it's human error. Sometimes it's mechanical failure. And every once in a while, it's because a coin intended for testing or presentation accidentally gets mixed in with circulation coins and sent out into the wild. Once that happens, there's no calling it back. It's out there. Somewhere. Waiting to be found by someone who knows what they're looking at, and what makes this even more thrilling is that very few of these 2009 golden dollars have been authenticated with error features or unique planchet anomalies. We're talking less than a handful known to exist with the specific combination of perfect strike, unusual luster, edge errors, and flawless surfaces, all from the Denver Mint. Now here's the million-dollar question, or rather, the multi-$100,000 one: what happens when one of these elusive coins makes it into the hands of a professional coin grader? It gets examined under microscopes, weighed, magnetically tested, and graded on a numerical scale from 1 to 70. And when a coin like this comes back graded MS-68 or higher, with verified error characteristics and origin from the Denver Mint, it doesn't just become valuable. It becomes legendary. Collectors don't hesitate. Dealers make calls. Bidding wars begin, often privately, behind the scenes, through dealers or high-end auction houses. Because the people who want these coins don't blink at the price tag. Why? Because they're not just buying a coin. They're buying a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly, a museum-worthy artifact, a conversation piece that no one else on Earth may ever hold again. And that brings us to the final moment of today's journey. Point one of these ultra-rare, near-perfect, 2009 United States of America $1 coins, with a confirmed edge lettering error, minted on an experimental golden planchet, and authenticated by one of the world's leading grading authorities, recently changed hands in a private deal for the astonishing sum of $365,000. Yes. You heard that right. $365,000, for a coin that looks, at first glance, like something you might toss into a soda machine. Now, go ahead, check your drawers, your old wallets, your coin jars, your grandparents' sock drawers. Look for a 2009 $1 coin with the D Mint mark. Examine it closely. Check the edge. Look at the color. Feel the weight. You might just be holding a miracle in your palm. Today, we're going deep into one of the most talked about yet misunderstood coins of modern American numismatics. It's small, it's golden in color, and most people have probably handled one without even realizing the treasure they were holding. Yes, we're talking about the United States of America gold $1 coin from the year 2009, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, proudly marked with the letter P. Now before you scroll past thinking, oh, I've seen that coin before, hold on just a second, because the story you're about to hear is unlike anything you've heard about modern US currency. What looks like a simple dollar could actually be worth a fortune, and by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll never look at your loose change the same way again. Let's travel back to the year 2009. This was a monumental year in American coinage. The U.S. Mint was in full swing with the presidential $1 coin program, a historic project that began in 2007 to honor all the U.S. presidents in the order they served. These coins were more than just money. They were little golden tributes to the country's history, each one featuring a former president on the obverse and the elegant Statue of Liberty on the reverse. But 2009 wasn't just another year in the program, it was a year of quiet anomalies. Among the 4 presidential $1 coins released that year, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, and Zachary Taylor, some batches came out of the Philadelphia Mint with irregularities that no one expected. These weren't just minor scuffs or wear marks. We're talking about full-fledged minting errors, rare variations, and planchet mysteries that have had collectors buzzing for over a decade. Let's get into the details, because this is where things get fascinating. Now, every presidential $1 coin was supposed to follow strict standards. They were to be minted on a golden-colored manganese brass-clad planchet. The inscriptions, E pluribus unum, in God we trust, the year, and the mint mark, were placed not on the front or back, but along the edge of the coin. It was a unique design element meant to set these coins apart, but during 2009, something unusual happened. Several coins were discovered that were missing the edge lettering entirely. Imagine flipping your dollar coin sideways and seeing nothing but a smooth edge, no date, no motto, no mint mark. Just blank. This error wasn't supposed to happen. The Mint had already faced backlash for similar issues in 2007 and had implemented strict quality control procedures. Yet somehow, a few of these error coins slipped through the cracks again in 2009, and many of them came from the Philadelphia Mint. But here's where things get even deeper. Some of these 2009 P error coins had more than just missing inscriptions. A few of them, only a handful reported, were struck on planchets that had different color tones or metallic compositions. These coins had an unusually rich golden shine, even compared to standard dollar coins. The weight and feel were slightly off, raising suspicions among collectors and grading experts. Were these experimental planchets? Were they test coins accidentally sent into circulation? Or were they special presentation pieces that got mixed into the everyday coin batches? No one knows for sure. The U.S. Mint, as always, keeps tight-lipped about such anomalies, but one thing is clear: coins with this combination of features from 2009, especially those minted in Philadelphia, are exceedingly rare. Now imagine this scenario: you're going through your old drawer, maybe sorting coins from a vacation or digging through an old piggy bank. You find a $2009 coin. It's gold-colored. You look closely, it has a P on it. But then you realize, the edge is smooth. No lettering. Odd, right? But it gets better. Under direct light, the coin shines differently than the others. It's brighter, with a unique luster. Maybe you even feel something's off about the weight or the ring when you tap it gently on a surface. Congratulations. You may have found a modern numismatic unicorn. Let's talk briefly about how experts verify these coins. When a coin like this appears, collectors don't just rely on what it looks like to the naked eye. They send it to professional grading services like NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service. These organizations examine the coin under microscopes, test the metal content, evaluate the strike quality, the surface condition, and confirm any anomalies or minting errors. And when a coin comes back graded MS67 or MS68, with a verified edge lettering error, a rare planchet, and the P mint mark, that's when things really heat up. Suddenly, you're not holding a dollar anymore. You're holding a rare, sought-after treasure, one that dealers and collectors all over the world are competing to get their hands on. Because coins like this don't just fill out a collection, they define it. and now we reach the part of this story you've all been waiting for. A few years ago, one of these 2009 Mint Mark $1 coins, struck without edge lettering, showing exceptional mint condition, unusual metallic features, and authenticated by a top-tier grading service, was sold through a private auction to a high-end collector. That coin, a coin that could easily have been tossed into a soda machine or forgotten in a drawer, fetched the jaw-dropping price of $345,000. Yes, you heard that right, $345,000 for a single $1 coin. So the question now is simple: do you have one? If you've got a 2009 United States gold $1 coin with the Mint mark, now is the time to check. Inspect the edge. Look for missing inscriptions. Check the color, the shine, the texture. Weigh it if you can. If anything feels different or off, don't ignore it. Get it looked at by a professional. Because that coin in your drawer, your pocket, or your old coin jar could be the key to an incredible discovery. Thanks so much for watching. If you love stories like this, full of history, mystery, and potential riches, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another numismatic adventure. We've got plenty more surprises waiting for you. Until next time, stay curious, stay alert, and always check your change, because the next great fortune could be sitting right in the palm of your hand.